Hello, welcome back to LIVENODING. This episode, I want to share the breakdown on this setup that's only possible in Blender 4.1. It's actually very easy to recreate. If I select all these mesh and hold options and play around with this, with the radius, you can see as it grows larger, it's splitting into smaller pieces, and it's just kind of bursting and popping into nothingness, right? If I make it smaller and smaller, it's gonna go back into something that's originally it's just like a bunch of torus. If I delete all of these, I'm just gonna save it into new blend. So this is possible because in Blender 4.1 we have a new nodes, and the new node is called split to instance. Okay, splits to instance is really cool. If you select these nodes and then right click, check the online manual, it's gonna take you into this page. And so it's basically these nodes can split up geometry elements into instance that you can, it's based on the group ID. And after you split it into instance, like imagine like a mesh, and you can split it using noise, you're gonna end up with something like this, like um, Voronoi kind of fracture, right? This example is actually the most important. So I'm just expanding on this example and turn it, and I'm using a torus, and then like splitting. Let me try to remove some of this madness. Okay. So originally, it's just a torus, and I split this torus into instance using noise and Voronoi, and this value is kind of arbitrary. You can endlessly play around with it. So basically, from the value of Voronoi and noise, we just multiply it with really high value, and by doing that, we have like a group ID separating the mesh into different broken pieces. And in this case, I'm using circle, and the radius of the circle can be controlled, right? Like the torus. If I expand it larger and larger, the split's becoming so small, and it's just gonna disappear. Actually, if you want to make it disappear, you can. So when you're doing the split instances, you can select point, edges, face, and there's also spline and instances. These two going to be really useful with curve. If you select points as you splitting, and as you are doing the splitting and make it larger, it's gonna turn it into edges and disappear completely. And on top of that, I'm using this material that's kind of separating, giving a different shader color for every separate island. So when you are splitting mesh, it's gonna become like separate island, right? So that's basically what's happening. Very easy to recreate. And yeah, don't forget to realize instances, and blur attributes to make it, instead of jagged edges like this, you can make it a little bit smoother. And also the resolutions of the original mesh kind of matters before you are doing the split to instances. So if I actually start from scratch, okay, just like this example, I recommend you to try to do this yourself, recreate the setup. Yeah, we're gonna do the same thing. So if you are using grid, split instances is like magic. Split the points. This gonna be high value, right? And let's save this. So split demo. Yeah, I think this node is really powerful. I like it. Let's use noise. We don't have, in the latest Blender 4.1, we don't have Musgrave texture anymore. So it is supposedly hidden somewhere inside the noise texture. So Musgrave is still there, but anyway. So if we can split this grid into different parts, and let's use vector math, right? So something will start to appear. The noise is doing its magic. We can randomize the noise using the W. Let's increase this value, diffusions. So point, edges, faces. We're gonna have, like really dense points, and this group ID being multiplied will actually split them into different groups, separating the mesh. Play around with the scale. So that's with the noise. Let's actually use in this example, it's using translates instances and randomize the height based on the noise. Translate instances, random value. Okay. Combine XYZ. This goes in there. You can also use scale to randomize the height like this. Even just that, it's already pretty cool that we can do this pretty easily. Imagine like a map, So instead of using grid let's use something like sphere. So it's gonna separate the sphere into different parts. And this one, it's translating ups and down. Instead of using translate instances, let's use scale instances. This goes, random value goes into the scale. Okay. Increase the segment, make it 300 by 300. We have something that looks like a globe. Multiply a little bit more, so you get more noise separating each part of the sphere. If you want this to be smooth, realize instances, so it's become a real mesh, and then set position, and just smooth and blur the position this way. Okay, that's basically it in the nutshell. Set material, assign material, and the material will work in cycles only. Go to the shader, geometry, random per island, hue, randomize the hue based on different island, different color. And if you want some thickness, you can use solidify. Select this, add solidify, so it has some thickness. Yeah, that's basically one use case of a split, split instance example. This is like the most basic. Of course, you can use, instead of noise texture, you can also use Voronoi texture, Voronoi, and again multiply the color for the group ID. Play around with the scale. try all kind of different noise. This one, you know, smooth F1 give you this type of texture, procedural texture. And yeah, this is the one that looks like if you're bursting a bubble. It's gonna look like this. The mesh is gonna be really dense, however, so keep that in mind. If you increase the radius, it's gonna start to become smaller and smaller and bursting like a real balloon. If it's so small, yeah, it's just like an island of our planet Earth. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it in a nutshell. It's pretty simple nodes to use. I think it can do more, especially if you are working with spline and instance of something else. You can break instance of instance, I believe, so like text curve and stuff. But for now, I guess that's pretty much it. I can give you a quick glance at this example once again. So we get a bunch of torus. We can play around with the radius. As it grows bigger, it's gonna burst. I like the effects like this. Looks like a really nice looking sculpture. It's rather really simple. Each of the torus is given a different W value to control the shapes. You know, it just looks complicated. It's really simple underneath, but I think this node's doing a really hard job, and it's really fast as well. So yeah, pretty fun. Give it a try yourself. Yeah, hopefully you find this useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.